The arrival of Zilia Moonbeam. Ambassador Damon Steele stood before the expansive window of his penthouse suite, gazing out at the sprawling metropolis that stretched across the colossal space station, Celessa Prime. The glittering city lights mirrored the vast starfield beyond, a breathtaking display of human ingenuity amidst the cosmos. As the youngest diplomat to achieve such a prestigious posting, Damon's days were filled with endless meetings, negotiations, and social engagements. While he thrived in his high-powered career, the long hours left him little time to manage his personal affairs. His once immaculate apartment had fallen into cluttered disarray. Running a hand through his dark, neatly trimmed hair, Damon realized it was time to admit he needed help. Striding over to his holoconsole, he placed a call to Celessa Prime's premier domestic staffing agency. A cheerful virtual assistant materialized above the console. "Good evening, Ambassador Steele. How may Cosmic Concierge assist you today?" "I'm interested in hiring a live-in housekeeper," Damon replied, his tone brisk yet hopeful. "Someone efficient, discreet, and able to handle a demanding schedule." "Certainly, sir. We have several highly qualified candidates well suited to your needs." The AI's eyes flickered as it processed data at lightning speed. "In fact, I believe I have the perfect match. Zilia Moonbeam, a skilled domestic professional from Missouri. Shall I send over her profile?" Damon nodded eagerly. A hollow image of a stunning blue-skinned humanoid female appeared, her luminous silver eyes sparkling with warmth and intelligence. Zilia's profile showcased an impressive array of household talents, from gourmet cooking to advanced organization techniques. "She looks perfect," Damon murmured appreciatively. "When can she start?" "Zilia can begin first thing tomorrow morning. Shall I confirm the placement?" "Please do, and thank you for your help." As the call ended, Damon found himself eagerly anticipating the arrival of his new housekeeper. Little did he know, their professional relationship was about to take a most unexpected turn. A new beginning. The next morning, Damon awoke to the mouth-watering aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon. Puzzled, he slipped on a robe and ventured into the main living area. There, he discovered Zilia already hard at work, gracefully maneuvering between the kitchen and dining area as she prepared a gourmet breakfast spread. "Good morning, Ambassador Steele," she greeted him warmly, her melodic voice sending a pleasant shiver down his spine. "I hope you're hungry. I took the liberty of preparing a traditional Earth breakfast to start your day off right." Damon couldn't help but admire the way Zilia's form-fitting uniform accentuated her feminine curves. Her blue skin shimmered under the soft lighting, and her silver eyes sparkled with friendly attentiveness. "This is incredible," he marveled, taking a seat at the impeccably set table. "You've accomplished more in an hour than I have in a week." Zilia smiled demurely as she poured him a steaming cup of coffee. "It's my pleasure to serve, Ambassador. I'm here to make your life easier in any way I can." As the days turned into weeks, Zilia seamlessly integrated herself into Damon's life, anticipating his every need with uncanny precision. His once chaotic apartment transformed into a haven of order and tranquility. Delicious, healthy meals appeared like clockwork, his wardrobe was meticulously maintained, and his schedule ran like a well-oiled machine. Yet even as Damon marveled at Zilia's impeccable service, he began to notice a palpable tension growing between them. He often caught her stealing glances at him when she thought he wasn't looking, her silver eyes smoldering with barely suppressed longing. Try as he might to maintain a professional distance, Damon found himself increasingly drawn to her exotic beauty and gentle charm. A moment of connection. One evening, as Zilia leaned past him to clear the dinner dishes, her hand accidentally brushed against his. A jolt of electricity seemed to pass between them, and their eyes locked in a moment of searing intensity. Damon inhaled sharply, his senses suddenly overwhelmed by her intoxicating scent, a heady mix of jasmine and starlight that set his pulse racing. Zilia jerked back as if burned, her cheeks flushing a deep shade of indigo. I apologize, Ambassador," she stammered, averting her gaze. That was highly inappropriate of me. Damon's heart pounded as he struggled to regain his composure. No, it's quite all right, Zelia. These things happen. But even as they'd both tried to laugh off the incident, the air between them remained charged with unspoken desire. Damon knew he was treading on dangerous ground, but he couldn't seem to help himself. Zelia's presence had become like a drug, and he craved her nearness more with each passing day. As he lay in bed that night, tossing and turning, Damon's mind raced with forbidden fantasies. He imagined running his hands over Zelia's smooth blue skin, tracing the elegant lines of her collarbone with his lips, losing himself in the depths of her luminous silver eyes. Sleep eluded him, his body aching with a need he dared not name. But one thing was becoming increasingly clear. His feelings for Zelia were rapidly spiraling beyond his control. Sooner or later, something would have to give, and when it did, the consequences would be nothing short of explosive. The unfolding tension. As the weeks passed, Zelia found herself increasingly struggling to maintain her composure around Damon. His mere presence seemed to set her senses ablaze. His masculine pheromones were an intoxicating elixir that clouded her judgment and weakened her resolve. She caught herself daydreaming about him during her daily tasks, imagining the feel of his strong hands on her skin and the taste of his lips against hers. Damon, for his part, couldn't help but notice the effect he was having on his beautiful alien housekeeper. He had always been popular with women, but Zelia's reactions to him were on a whole different level. The way her breath hitched when he entered a room, the flush that crept up her neck when he brushed past her, it was all incredibly flattering and more than a little arousing. One morning, as Zelia was serving Damon his usual breakfast, her hand trembled slightly as she poured his coffee. A few drops splashed into the saucer, and she let out a small gasp of dismay. "I'm so sorry, Ambassador," she apologized, reaching for a napkin to clean up the spill. Damon caught her wrist gently, his thumb brushing over her racing pulse. "Please call me Damon," he murmured, his voice low and intimate. "And there's no need to apologize. I think we both know what's really going on here." Zelia's eyes widened, her cheeks flushing a deep indigo. I don't know what you mean," she stammered, trying to pull away. But Damon held fast, drawing her closer until their faces were mere inches apart. "Don't you?" he breathed, his gaze dropping to her parted lips. "I've seen the way you look at me, Zelia. The way your body responds to my presence. You want me just as much as I want you." A dangerous decision. Zelia's heart raced, her skin tingling with anticipation. She knew she should pull away, should put an end to this dangerous game before it went too far. But the magnetic pull of Damon's pheromones was too strong, the ache of her own desire too intense to ignore. "We can't," she whispered, even as her body swayed toward his. "It's not right. I'm your employee and you're my boss. We have to maintain professional boundaries." Damon chuckled softly, the sound sending shivers down her spine. To hell with boundaries, he growled before capturing her lips in a searing kiss. Zelia melted into his embrace, her arms winding around his neck as she surrendered to the passion that had been building between them for weeks. Damon's tongue plundered her mouth, his hands roaming over her curves with bold possessiveness. She moaned into the kiss, her own fingers tangling in his dark hair, tugging him closer. Lost in a haze of lust and pheromones, they stumbled backward until Zelia's back hit the wall. Damon's hands slid down to her thighs, hitching her legs up around his waist as he ground his hips against hers. She could feel the hard length of him pressing insistently against her body, and she shuddered with need. "Damon," she gasped as his lips trailed hot, open-mouth kisses down the column of her throat. "We shouldn't. Not here." But her protests were cut off by another searing kiss, Damon's hands sliding under her skirt to cup her hips. "Then where?" he demanded, nipping at her lower lip. "My bedroom. The shower. Tell me where you want me, Zelia, and I'll take you there." Zelia's head spun, her body trembling with desire. She knew this was a line they could never come back from, a boundary that, once crossed, would change everything between them. But in that moment, with Damon's pheromones clouding her senses and his touch setting her skin ablaze, she couldn't bring herself to care. "Anywhere," she breathed, her nails digging into his shoulders. "Just please, Damon, I need you." The unraveling threads of desire. The room was dimly lit, the soft glow of ambient lights casting a warm hue over the plush bedding as Damon and Zelia sank into an uncharted territory of passion. The world outside faded away, leaving only the intoxicating presence of one another. As Damon's hands explored Zelia's curves, he marveled at the softness of her blue skin under his fingertips. The connection between them sparked like an electric current, igniting every nerve ending with an insatiable hunger. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Their positions as employer and employee, the societal norms that sought to bind them, all of it dissolved into the ether. The need that had been brewing between them exploded into a firestorm of longing, a dance of bodies entwined in a symphony of pleasure and discovery. An awakening of the heart. As they shared kisses that deepened and grew more urgent, Zelia surrendered to the sensations flooding her senses. Each caress was a revelation, each kiss a promise of uncharted territories yet to be explored. She felt as if she were awakening from a long slumber, discovering facets of herself she never knew existed. With each passing moment, her inhibitions melted away, replaced by a heady blend of desire and elation. "Damon," she breathed between kisses, the sound of his name like a hymn on her lips. It was an affirmation, a declaration of everything she had fought against and everything she now embraced. "Yes, Zelia," he murmured, trailing his lips down her throat, eliciting soft gasps from her as he worshipped her body. His voice was thick with emotion, each word dripping with the weight of what they were embarking on. "This is just the beginning for us." As their bodies moved in perfect harmony, Zelia felt as though they were two celestial bodies orbiting each other, caught in an irresistible gravitational pull. The pleasure they shared was more than physical. It was a melding of souls, an awakening of their respective strengths and vulnerabilities. Navigating new waters. Yet, as their intimate moments unfolded, a new reality began to dawn on them both. With every kiss and every whispered promise, the complexity of their situation began to seep into the corners of their minds. The passionate haze that enveloped them was not without its shadows. Whispers of societal judgment, the delicate balance of power, and the impending consequences of their choices. Zelia pulled back slightly, her silver eyes searching Damon's face. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The question hung in the air like a fragile thread, teetering between hope and trepidation. Damon paused, running a hand through his hair as he tried to organize his thoughts. "I don't know, but I do know that I don't want to lose you, Zelia," he admitted, his gaze earnest. Whatever this is, it's real to me." Zelia felt her heart swell at his words, yet a flicker of doubt crept in. "But I'm your employee," she reminded him, her brow furrowing. "What if this affects your career? What if people find out?" "Let them find out," he replied, his voice firm yet gentle. "What we have is rare, and I'm not willing to throw it away because of what others might think. We can navigate this together." His determination ignited a fire in her spirit, and she nodded, feeling emboldened by his resolve. They had taken the first step, and now it was time to forge a path forward, hand in hand. A day of reflection. As dawn broke, the golden light spilled through the window, casting an ethereal glow over the room. Zelia stirred awake, her head nestled against Damon's chest. The peaceful rhythm of his heartbeat filled her with a sense of comfort and security. However, reality soon settled in, accompanied by the nagging thoughts of what lay ahead. Would their relationship withstand the scrutiny of the world outside? Could she truly balance her role as his housekeeper with the blossoming feelings they had for one another? Zelia slipped from the bed, careful not to wake Damon, and padded quietly to the kitchen. She needed to clear her head and ground herself in a sense of normalcy. As she prepared breakfast, she replayed the events of the previous night in her mind, each memory sending butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Damon soon joined her, the sleep still evident in his eyes, but quickly fading as he caught the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling eggs. "You didn't have to do this," he said, his voice thick with sleep as he leaned against the kitchen doorway. "I wanted to," she replied, turning to face him with a soft smile. "Consider it part of my duties as your housekeeper." Damon chuckled, a sound warm and inviting. "Or part of your duties as my partner," he teased, walking closer to her. The playful banter lightened the mood, but the underlying tension of their new reality still loomed large. A shift in dynamic. As the weeks unfolded, the dynamics of their relationship began to shift. Zelia continued to manage the household with grace and efficiency, but now there was an undeniable depth to her actions. Every meal was infused with love, every task approached with a new sense of intimacy. They would steal moments together, quick glances, soft touches, lingering kisses, all while maintaining the facade of professionalism in public. One evening, Damon invited Zelia to accompany him to a diplomatic gala, an opportunity that filled her with both excitement and anxiety. Dressing for the event felt different now. She was no longer just a housekeeper but his companion, and the weight of that title sent her heart racing. As she stood in front of the mirror, Zelia transformed herself into a vision of elegance. The shimmering fabric of her gown hugged her form, and she adorned her hair with delicate silver accents that complemented her luminous skin. She felt beautiful, empowered by the love and support that Damon had instilled in her. The gala and its challenges. At the gala, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Diplomats and dignitaries from various planets mingled, their conversations a blend of cultural exchanges and political strategy. Damon stood tall and confident as he greeted his fellow ambassadors, but his gaze constantly drifted back to Zelia, who moved gracefully among the guests, drawing appreciative glances from all around. However, the evening took an unexpected turn when a charming human ambassador approached them. "Ambassador Steele, it's a pleasure to finally meet you," he exclaimed, extending his hand. "I'm Ambassador Liam Hawthorne from the Epsilon sector." Damon shook his hand, but Zelia felt a flutter of unease. As Liam turned his attention to her, she could sense his interest, the way his eyes lingered just a moment too long. "And who might this lovely lady be?" he inquired, his tone light yet filled with intrigue. Before Zelia could respond, a low, breathy moan escaped her lips, a reaction entirely out of her control. Mortified, she clapped a hand over her mouth, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. Damon quickly intervened, stepping in front of her protectively. "This is Zelia Moonbeam, my personal maid and companion for the evening," he introduced smoothly, placing a reassuring hand on the small of her back. The tension was palpable as Zelia leaned into his touch, grateful for his support. A moment of vulnerability. Liam raised an eyebrow, a knowing grin spreading across his face. "It seems you're quite a generous employer, Ambassador," he remarked, his tone teasing. As the conversation continued, Zelia struggled to maintain her composure. The mix of Damon's pheromones and Liam's distinctive scent swirled in the air, leaving her feeling dizzy. She could see Damon growing more protective with each passing moment, and that only added to the rush of emotions swirling inside her. After politely excusing themselves, Damon guided Zelia toward a quieter corner of the room, concern etched across his features. "Are you all right, Zelia?" he asked softly, cupping her face gently in his hands. "I know that must have been uncomfortable for you." Zelia sighed, leaning into his touch. "I'm so sorry, Damon," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know what came over me. It's just, his pheromones were so strong, and I couldn't control my reaction. I feel like such a fool." Damon chuckled softly, his expression warm. "You're not a fool, Zelia. You're a beautiful, passionate woman with a unique biology that sometimes gets the better of you. Honestly, I find it incredibly endearing." Relief washed over her as she realized that Damon embraced every part of who she was. "You really mean that?" she asked, her heart swelling with affection. Absolutely, he affirmed, drawing her closer. Knowing that I'm the only man who can truly satisfy you, the only one who can make you lose control like that, it's a huge turn-on. I wouldn't have it any other way. A deepening bond. With the evening winding down, Zilia felt a renewed sense of confidence. They danced together, their bodies moving in sync, and the laughter they shared felt like a promise of their growing bond. It was clear to both of them that they were navigating uncharted waters, and while challenges loomed on the horizon, the strength of their connection made them feel invincible. As they returned to their apartment, their fingers intertwined, Zilia knew they had crossed a threshold. No longer just employer and employee, they were partners in a dance of love and passion, ready to face whatever the universe had in store for them. Building a new reality. The morning sun streamed through the window, casting golden rays across the plush bedding where Damon and Zilia lay tangled in each other's arms. The previous night had solidified the foundations of their newfound relationship, igniting a flame of passion that neither had anticipated. However, with the dawn came the reality of their circumstances, and the world outside waited for no one. As Zilia stirred awake, she felt a rush of warmth flood her heart at the sight of Damon sleeping peacefully beside her. His strong features were softened in repose, and she couldn't help but reach out to brush a strand of hair from his forehead. A sense of contentment enveloped her, but lingering thoughts of that unconventional situation tugged at her mind. A morning of decisions. After a quiet breakfast filled with shared smiles and stolen glances, Zilia cleared the table, her mind racing with the implications of their relationship. She had never envisioned herself as more than a housekeeper, and now here she was, caught in a whirlwind romance with the ambassador of Celessa Prime. What did this mean for her future? "Zilia," Damon called, drawing her attention. He leaned back in his chair, watching her with a keen gaze. "I want to talk about us." Her heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" He stood and moved closer, the seriousness in his tone evident. "I know this is all new for both of us, but I want you to know that I don't see you just as my housekeeper anymore. You're so much more than that to me." Zilia felt her pulse quicken at his words, a mixture of joy and apprehension swirling within her. "What are you saying, Damon?" "I'm saying I want us to be partners, not just in this arrangement, but in every aspect of our lives. I want to navigate this universe together, side by side." His eyes held a fierce determination that made her heart swell. Zilia hesitated, fear creeping into her thoughts. "But what about your career? What if people find out? It could affect your position, your reputation." "I don't care about any of that," Damon replied, his voice firm. "What we have is rare and precious. I don't want to hide it anymore. I want to build a life with you." Her heart sewed at his words, yet uncertainty lingered. "But we need to think this through, Damon. It's not just about us. There are people in our lives who will have opinions." "I understand, but we'll face them together," he reassured her. "We can't let fear dictate our happiness. It's time to embrace what we have." Zilia felt a rush of emotion, caught between the desire to leap into this new life with him and the fear of what lay ahead. "I want that too," she admitted softly, her voice barely above a whisper. A day of challenges. The day unfolded like a delicate tapestry, woven with threads of hope and uncertainty. As Zilia went about her usual chores, tidying the apartment and preparing meals, her mind danced with thoughts of their future. Would she be able to balance her new role as Damon's partner while maintaining her responsibilities? Later that afternoon, Damon returned from a series of diplomatic meetings, his expression wary yet brightening at the sight of her. "I have some good news," he announced, leaning against the doorframe with a grin. Zilia looked up from where she was chopping vegetables. "What is it?" "I've arranged for us to attend a cultural exchange event this weekend. It's a chance for us to showcase our partnership in front of other ambassadors and dignitaries," he explained, excitement sparking in his eyes. Zilia felt a flutter of apprehension at the prospect. "That sounds amazing, but what if people talk?" "Let them talk," Damon said, his voice steady. This is our chance to show the universe who we are together. I want to celebrate what we have, not hide it away." His enthusiasm was infectious, and Zilia couldn't help but smile. "Okay then, I'll need to find something special to wear." "Leave that to me," Damon replied, his eyes glinting with mischief. "I have a few ideas that might surprise you." An unexpected encounter. As the week progressed, Zilia felt the thrill of anticipation mixed with anxiety. The cultural exchange event loomed closer, and she could sense the shift in their dynamic. With each passing day, their bond deepened, and she found herself lost in daydreams of a shared future, adventures, laughter, and love unfurling like a blossoming flower. However, the reality of their situation struck hard one evening when a familiar figure appeared at their doorstep. It was Agent Roland, a close friend of Damon and a high-ranking officer within the Intergalactic Council. "Damon," Roland greeted, his tone friendly but his eyes sharp with curiosity. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." Zilia felt her heart race, knowing that their newfound relationship was still a closely guarded secret. Damon was quick to compose himself, ushering Roland inside. "Not at all. I was just about to prepare dinner. Would you like to join us?" Roland's gaze flicked between the two of them, a knowing smile creeping onto his face. "I'd love to catch up. It's been too long since we shared a meal together." As they settled at the dining table, Zilia couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She moved through the motions, serving the food and keeping her head down, but Roland's attention was keen. "So, Damon, how's life as an ambassador treating you?" he asked, his voice casual yet probing. "It's challenging but rewarding," Damon replied, keeping his tone light. "I'm learning a lot about interspecies relations." Zilia felt the weight of Roland's gaze on her, and she stole a glance up at him. He wore an amused expression, as if he could sense the undercurrents swirling between Damon and her. "And what about your personal life?" Roland asked, leaning back in his chair with a playful smirk. "Any developments?" Damon's jaw tightened, and Zilia held her breath. She could feel the tension building, the unspoken words lingering like a heavy cloud in the air. The turning point. Before Damon could respond, Zilia interjected, her voice steady but soft. "We're building something together," she stated, meeting Roland's gaze with confidence. "It's new, but it's important to us." Roland's eyebrows raised in surprise, and he regarded Zilia with newfound respect. "I see, that's good to hear." Damon glanced at Zilia, admiration shining in his eyes. "It is important," he affirmed. "Zilia is a crucial part of my life, and I'm not hiding that anymore." Roland nodded, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "You've got guts, I like that. In this line of work, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. Just be ready for the challenges that come with it." Zilia felt a rush of relief wash over her as Roland accepted their relationship without judgment. The tension dissipated, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. They shared stories over dinner, laughter ringing through the apartment as the walls filled with warmth and acceptance. Preparing for the event. As the weekend approached, Zilia and Damon worked together to prepare for the cultural exchange. They spent hours selecting the perfect attire, with Damon insisting on a stunning gown that highlighted Zilia's striking beauty. When the day of the event arrived, Zilia stood in front of the mirror, her heart racing at her reflection. The gown flowed gracefully around her, shimmering in shades of blue that echoed her skin. She felt beautiful, empowered by Damon's unwavering belief in her. Damon entered the room, his breath catching at the sight of her. "You look incredible, Zilia," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you," she replied, a shy smile playing on her lips. "You clean up pretty well yourself." He wore a tailored suit that complemented his strong physique, exuding confidence and charisma. As they made their way to the venue, Zilia felt a surge of excitement mingled with anxiety. The cultural exchange. The cultural exchange was held in a grand hall, filled with diplomats from various planets, each adorned in vibrant traditional attire. Zilia felt the eyes of many upon them as they entered, a mixture of admiration and curiosity. Damon held her hand firmly, guiding her through the crowd with ease. "Just be yourself," he whispered, his thumb brushing over her knuckles. "We've got this." As they mingled, Zilia felt the thrill of new experiences wash over her. She engaged in conversations, sharing stories of her home planet and its customs, and was met with interest and respect. Damon stood proudly by her side, introducing her to key figures and supporting her every word. But as the evening progressed, Zilia couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced around and noticed a group of ambassadors whispering amongst themselves, their gazes lingering on her and Damon. "Do you feel that?" she asked Damon quietly, her heart racing. "Don't worry about them," he replied, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "Let's enjoy the evening. Our bond is stronger than their whispers." Facing the future together. As the night wore on, Zilia and Damon found themselves lost in the rhythm of the event, their laughter echoing in the grand hall. They shared stories, danced under the twinkling lights, and embraced the beauty of the moment. Yet, as the gala drew to a close, Zilia felt a mix of emotions swelling within her. They had stepped into a new world together, but the path ahead was still fraught with challenges. As they left the venue, Damon turned to her, a serious expression on his face. "Zilia, no matter what happens, I want you to remember that we are in this together. You are my partner, and I will always stand by you." Zilia felt tears prick at her eyes, overwhelmed by his unwavering support. "I know, and I feel the same way, Damon. Whatever comes our way, we'll face it together." With their hearts intertwined and their spirits buoyed by love, they stepped into the future hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever the universe had in store for them. As they returned to their apartment, Zilia knew one thing for certain: together they could conquer anything. Their journey was just beginning, and the stars themselves felt within reach, promising endless adventures and love that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. Trials and triumphs. The days following the cultural exchange event brought a whirlwind of change to Damon and Zilia's lives. With their relationship now an open secret, the couple found themselves navigating the complexities of public perception and private affection. The exhilaration of their newfound connection was often tempered by the weight of external scrutiny, but together they forged a path forward, adjusting to new realities. As they settled back into their routine, Zilia threw herself into her domestic responsibilities with renewed vigor. Every corner of the apartment gleamed, every meal was prepared with love, and she embraced her role as both a partner and a housekeeper. The lines between their professional and personal lives blurred even further as they shared stolen moments of intimacy amid the chaos of daily life. Yet, each day brought its own set of challenges. Damon's position as an ambassador required him to maintain a polished public image, and he often faced inquiries about his relationship with Zilia. The curiosity of his peers was relentless, and while most responded positively, there were whispers of skepticism and judgment that lingered in the air. One afternoon, as Damon returned from a meeting, he found Zilia sitting at the dining table, her expression thoughtful. "We need to talk," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with concern. "What's on your mind?" Damon asked, pulling out a chair to sit beside her. "It's just, with everything happening, I feel the pressure. People are starting to notice us, and I don't want to jeopardize your position because of me," she admitted, her silver eyes clouded with worry. Damon reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "Zilia, you are not a liability. You're my partner, and I won't let anyone undermine what we have. But I understand your concerns. We need to approach this carefully." Strengthening their bond. To bolster their relationship against outside forces, Damon proposed they spend time together outside the confines of their apartment, engaging in shared activities that celebrated both their worlds. "Let's explore the city," he suggested one evening. "We can discover new places and make memories, just us." Zilia's heart lifted at the idea. "I would love that," she exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. It's been a while since I've seen the sights beyond this building. With a plan in place, they ventured out into the vibrant streets of Salesa Prime, hand in hand. The city was alive with energy, a stunning fusion of cultures, colors, and sounds. Street vendors called out their wares, children laughed as they played, and the aroma of exotic foods wafted through the air. As they wandered through a bustling marketplace, Zilia felt a sense of freedom that she hadn't experienced in years. They tried local delicacies, played games, and even participated in a traditional dance that left them both breathless and laughing. "This is incredible," Zilia said, her cheeks flushed with happiness. "I never imagined I could feel this way, so alive." Damon smiled, his eyes twinkling. "You deserve every bit of joy, Zilia. You're remarkable, and I want the world to see you as I do." Their outing solidified their bond, each shared experience weaving them closer together. It became evident that their relationship was not merely a secret escape, but a partnership that could withstand the scrutiny of the universe. Facing adversity. However, not all interactions were met with enthusiasm. One evening, as they attended a diplomatic dinner, Zilia felt the weight of disapproving stares from some of Damon's colleagues. Their whispered conversations floated through the air, and Zilia felt a familiar knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. "Did you hear about the ambassador and his maid?" One voice sneered, just loud enough for Zilia to catch. "It's unseemly, really. What will the council think?" Damon noticed Zilia's discomfort and leaned in closer, his voice low and reassuring. "Ignore them. They're just jealous because they don't understand what we have." But Zilia's heart sank. Despite Damon's words, the judgment from others cast a shadow over their evening. As they left the dinner, she couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy that hung in the air. "Damon, what if they're right? What if this is all a mistake?" she asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Damon stopped, turning to face her, his expression fierce. "Zilia, listen to me. What we have is real. Those who judge us don't see the depth of our connection. We will face challenges, but I believe in us." His words resonated deep within her, reigniting the fire of confidence she had felt during their adventures. "I believe in us too," she replied, a determined smile spreading across her lips. "I just need to remind myself of that." The test of trust. The following weeks were a test of their resolve as they balanced their personal and professional lives. Damon continued to face scrutiny from colleagues, but he refused to let their opinions deter him. Zilia focused on her domestic responsibilities, but she also began to assert herself more in public spaces, showcasing her skills and intelligence. One afternoon, Damon was called to a council meeting where the topic of interspecies relationships was on the agenda. He felt a surge of pride for Zilia as he spoke passionately about the importance of acceptance and understanding between different cultures. "True progress comes from collaboration and love, regardless of origin," Damon declared, his voice resonating with conviction. "My relationship with Zilia Moonbeam is a testament to that. We are partners in every sense of the word, and I will not apologize for that." As he spoke, he felt Zilia's presence behind him, her support bolstering his confidence. The room fell silent, and for a moment he could sense the shift in energy as some council members reconsidered their biases. Later that evening, when Damon returned home, he found Zilia waiting for him, her eyes alight with pride. "You were amazing," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around him. "I'm so proud of you." "Thanks to you," he replied, holding her close. "Your strength inspires me every day." A new beginning. With each passing challenge, Zilia and Damon emerged stronger than ever. They continued to explore the city, participate in cultural events, and share their hopes and dreams for the future. As they learned more about each other's worlds, their bond deepened, transforming into a partnership rooted in mutual respect and admiration. However, amid the triumphs, the question of their future remained. One evening, as they sat on their balcony overlooking the twinkling lights of Salesa Prime, Zilia turned to Damon, her expression serious. "What do you envision for us in the long run?" Damon took a moment to collect his thoughts, gazing out at the stars. "I want to build a life with you, Zelia. A life filled with adventures, challenges, and love. But I also want us to be a force for change. I want to show the universe that love knows no bounds." Zelia felt tears prick at her eyes, overwhelmed by his sincerity. "I want that too, but I worry about the challenges we'll face. Society doesn't always embrace change." "Change is often met with resistance," Damon replied, his tone resolute. "But together, we can be the change. Our love can inspire others to see beyond differences and embrace unity. We're just getting started." With those words, Zelia felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. They had already overcome so much together, and with Damon by her side, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Embracing the future. As they continued their journey together, Zelia and Damon learned to navigate their unique relationship with courage and grace. They became champions of acceptance, advocating for interspecies unity in their community and beyond. One day, Damon proposed an initiative to the council that aimed to promote interspecies cooperation and understanding through cultural exchange programs. Zelia worked alongside him to help organize events that celebrated the richness of diversity, bringing people together in ways that shattered preconceived notions. Their efforts paid off as they witnessed a gradual shift in attitudes among their peers. The once skeptical whispers turned into discussions of collaboration, and their relationship began to serve as a beacon of hope for others in similar situations. As they stood hand in hand at the opening of a new cultural center dedicated to fostering interspecies relationships, Zelia felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had come so far together, and their love had become a force for good in a galaxy that desperately needed it. With every challenge they faced, Zelia and Damon proved that love could triumph over adversity. They were not just building a life together, they were creating a legacy that would inspire generations to come. And as they gazed out at the crowd gathered to celebrate their mission, Zelia knew that their journey was only beginning. Together, they would continue to push boundaries, break down barriers, and show the universe that love could conquer all, no matter the distance between stars. Boundaries of love. As the seasons changed on Selesa Prime, so did the dynamics of Damon and Zelia's relationship. They had navigated the complexities of societal expectations and found their footing as a couple. However, with growing public attention came new challenges that would test the very foundation of their love. The rising tensions. With the success of their cultural initiatives, Damon's standing as an ambassador rose. He was invited to more diplomatic gatherings, and each time, Zelia accompanied him, her presence both a source of pride and a point of contention among certain circles. While many admired their partnership, others whispered in corners, casting shadows of doubt on their bond. One evening, after an especially tense gathering, Damon returned home, his brow furrowed with concern. Zelia was already waiting for him, her silver eyes wide with anticipation. "How was it?" she asked, her voice laced with apprehension. "It went well, but—" Damon hesitated, running a hand through his hair. There were whispers again. "Some people still don't approve of us." Zelia felt a pang of frustration and sadness. "It's like they're waiting for us to fail," she said, crossing her arms. "But we're proving them wrong, aren't we?" "Absolutely," Damon replied, stepping closer to her. "But the pressure is mounting. I can feel it in every interaction. We need to remain strong and united." As they stood together, Zelia reached for his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. "We've faced so much already. I believe in us, Damon. We can handle whatever comes our way." A growing ambition. Inspired by their triumphs, Zelia decided to take a more active role in Damon's diplomatic endeavors. She had always been passionate about cultural exchange, and now she wanted to make her voice heard. "I want to organize an interspecies summit," she declared one evening, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "A summit," Damon repeated, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" I want to bring representatives from different planets together to discuss cooperation and mutual understanding, Zelia explained, her enthusiasm contagious. We can showcase our cultures, share experiences, and foster relationships. It could be a turning point for interspecies relations. Damon's expression shifted to one of admiration. That's an incredible idea, Zelia. I'd love to support you in any way I can. Together, they set to work, pouring their hearts into the planning process. Zelia meticulously organized the event, reaching out to various ambassadors and cultural leaders. Damon used his influence to secure a venue and promote the summit within the council. The summit day. As the day of the summit approached, excitement filled the air. Zelia felt a mixture of nerves and exhilaration as she reviewed the final details. The event would be held in the Grand Hall of Celessa Prime, adorned with banners celebrating each participating culture. On the morning of the summit, Zelia stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her attire, a flowing gown that blended elements of her home planet with elegant Earth styles. "You look stunning," Damon said, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. "Thank you," she replied, turning to face him. "I just want everything to go smoothly." "It will," he assured her. "You've put so much thought into this, and your passion will shine through. Just be yourself." As they arrived at the venue, Zelia was struck by the vibrant atmosphere. Representatives from various planets mingled, their colorful attire reflecting their diverse cultures. The energy was palpable, and Zelia felt a surge of hope. "Welcome, everyone," Damon's voice rang out as he took to the podium. "Today, we gather to celebrate our differences and find common ground in our shared humanity." Zelia watched proudly as Damon spoke, his charisma drawing everyone in. He articulated the importance of unity in the face of adversity, and Zelia felt her heart swell. Unforeseen challenges. However, as the summit progressed, unexpected tensions began to arise. During a panel discussion, a prominent ambassador voiced his disapproval of interspecies relationships, claiming they undermined cultural purity. The room fell silent, the air thick with discomfort. "While I respect your opinion," Damon countered, his voice steady, "I believe that love transcends boundaries. It's through understanding and cooperation that we strengthen our cultures, not weaken them." Zelia felt her heart race, her eyes locked on Damon. The tension in the room was palpable, and she could see the discontent simmering among certain representatives. As the discussion continued, she noticed a few ambassadors exchanging glances, their expressions laden with skepticism. After the panel, Zelia approached Damon, concern etched on her face. "What if this affects our summit? What if they try to sabotage our efforts?" "We can't let fear dictate our actions," Damon replied, his determination unwavering. "We need to show them that our partnership is strong and that love is a powerful unifying force." A moment of resolve. As the summit continued, Zelia and Damon faced criticism and resistance from various representatives. Despite the challenges, they remained steadfast, engaging in conversations that aimed to bridge the gaps between cultures. But it wasn't until a heated argument broke out between two ambassadors that Zelia felt the full weight of the situation. "This is exactly what we're trying to overcome," she exclaimed, stepping forward to address the group. "We can't let our differences divide us. We must learn to embrace one another and grow together." Damon watched in awe as Zelia's passion ignited the room. "We are stronger together," she continued, her voice resonating with conviction. "If we truly want to create a better future, we must be willing to listen and learn from one another." The tension in the air began to shift, and for the first time, a murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. As ambassadors exchanged hesitant glances, Zelia felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Breaking barriers. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at the summit transformed. Representatives began to engage in meaningful discussions, sharing their cultures through music, food, and storytelling. Zelia felt a sense of pride as she witnessed the walls that had once divided them slowly crumble. As she mingled among the guests, Zelia found herself deep in conversation with a representative from a distant planet, discussing their shared interests and aspirations. "I never thought I'd have the opportunity to learn from someone like you," he said, his eyes reflecting newfound respect. "Likewise," Zilia replied, her heart swelling with joy. "This is what I hoped for, a chance to connect and understand one another." When Damon joined her, he beamed with pride. "You've done it, Zilia. You've brought them together in a way I couldn't have imagined." A shared vision. As the summit drew to a close, Zilia and Damon stood before the gathered representatives, their hearts full. "Today, we've taken a significant step toward unity," Damon declared, his voice filled with emotion. "But this is just the beginning. We must continue to work together, to learn from one another, and to embrace the diversity that makes our galaxy so beautiful." Zilia felt the weight of his words, knowing they had achieved something remarkable. The room erupted in applause, and Zilia and Damon exchanged proud smiles, knowing their efforts had made a lasting impact. That evening, as they celebrated with the summit attendees, Zilia felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. They had faced adversity, but together they had emerged victorious. Their love had not only survived, but had become a beacon of hope for others. A new chapter. In the aftermath of the summit, Zilia and Damon returned to their apartment, the thrill of their success still coursing through their veins. As they stood on their balcony, overlooking the twinkling lights of the city, Zilia turned to Damon, her heart full of gratitude. "I couldn't have done this without you," she admitted softly. "Your support means the world to me." "I believe in you, Zilia," Damon replied, wrapping his arms around her. "You're capable of incredible things, and together, we can change the world." Zilia felt a surge of love for him, knowing that their journey was just beginning. "What's next for us?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Whatever we want it to be," Damon replied, a grin spreading across his face. "We'll continue to fight for love, acceptance, and unity. We'll explore the universe, share our experiences, and inspire others to do the same." As they stood together, their hearts beating in sync, Zilia knew that with Damon by her side, anything was possible. Their love had become a force for change, and they were ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would break barriers, challenge perceptions, and build a future where love knew no bounds, a future where they could flourish side by side, ready to take on the universe together.